What's good, everybody? It is your boy Johnell, my guy, Matt Price Cash walking, and this is Heat Check powered by Designated Report. My guy, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great right now. Great.
Yo, me too. Me too, honestly. I worked today, was able to work from home, so it's been a nice chill day.
I was gonna say you was on talking about you got the day free. I said, how'd that happen?
Yeah, man. I had to go to a job site, had a meeting earlier, and then instead of going all the way back to the office, just work from home. So I definitely appreciate it not having to make that
I gotta
trek.
get one of those. I need a job I could do remote. I'm tired of going over there. I'm tired of going over there. I'm tired of talking to all these people. I'm tired of it.
So
you know what it is? I was just talking about this on Twitter. I'm like, the overly happy person at work is the worst. Like that person 100%. That's just like overly cheerful. Like that's starting to bother me. Like nobody's that happy to be here. Nobody. So stop.
No, I definitely feel you.
Oh, hey, my friend, how you doing? No. Like I'm just imitating them, but like, oh my god, it drives me crazy. Like, first of all, I'm not your friend.
Yeah, man. Just sometimes, I mean, even if it's like you can't work remotely at your job.
I can't do what I do remote. Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, I can kind of make it work sometimes. I mean, honestly, I feel like I could do my job completely remote, but my job they want to see us in the building, because they want to make sure everybody's on their P's and Q's. So it is what it is.
There.
Yeah, exactly. But that kind of leads into the Powerball. Powerball is 1.2 billion.
Goodness.
And it's just like I don't usually play the lotto. I usually buy one ticket on my birthday, and then when it gets big like this, I'll buy a ticket. Just
that's what I usually do too. I don't play all the time, but I like when it gets to a Billy, you can't win if you don't play.
Just why not? And it's one of those things. Like anytime I buy a ticket in my head, I'm going to win. Like I'm going to hit the jackpot, and I'm already thinking about trips I'm going to go on, things I'm going to buy, how I'm going to invest it. Like all day is what I'm thinking. And then I'm disappointed. Like, damn, I got to go back to work and grind for this. Yeah, exactly.
Like when they did Mega Millions, it was like something crazy, like 3 different people won or something like that. I'm like, why can't this ever be me?
Exactly, like, bro.
I don't pray hard enough. Are my prayers not good enough to you, God?
Did you buy a ticket earlier in the week?
No, I literally just bought one today. My numbers are cold. I got some very sentimental numbers close to the chest. That's what I always try to stick the numbers, that are close, and then I can always remember. I could just recite them because you don't want to be sitting up there thinking the numbers. You want to just run them off. You want to just run them off. So that's the way I feel, and I feel it's like a random draw. It's the algorithm.
So yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to do how the algorithm do. Just like 36, 68.
So if you won the Billy and say, I mean, I know there's taxes and all that stuff. If you won a Billy right now, how would you use it? You're a Knicks fan. How would you use it to help that franchise win this year and win going forward?
Oh my goodness. Okay.
And understand a Billy's not going to solve all the problems. Like owners are multi-billionaires, right? In order to own a franchise.
Right.
But there's some improvements you can make to your team. What would you do?
So with that, like, I think that the Knicks, they're like that one more skilled like center. I like Mitch. I like what he provides on the defensive end, but he's not very skilled on offense. He's like a lob catch guy. Sure. He doesn't have any back to the basket or face-up game yet. So I would like more of a Joel Embiid type of situation.
Okay.
That'd be nice. And for the Billy, I don't know, man. Run it back and let me get Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell's been playing out of his mind.
Run it back and let me get Donovan Mitchell. Like, I don't regret it, but like if there was a way that we could do it to just add him on, like, or something like that. I don't know. Yep. I spent the money to buy a time machine to go back in time and draft him instead. of drafting Frank Ntilikina. That's what I would do.
Fair enough. Fair enough, man.
Well, I'll wake Phil Jackson up while he was working out. Phil Jackson must have been sleeping because he worked out for the Knicks and he still picked Frank Ntilikina. They said he had to be sleeping to work out.
The Knicks, I think they're 3-3. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. They're not playing terrible, but I know. What are your realistic expectations for your squad this year for the Knicks?
Okay, so realistic expectations for me is, like I said, we know that we want to flirt. I want above 40 wins, like 40 or above, anywhere but because they're not going to win 50-something games. That would be remarkable if they did, but somewhere in that low 40s to mid 40s. I predicted 43 and 39. That was the record that I predicted when people asked me. So that's where I think they're going to be. I think in the loaded East, that places them play in range. And then anything happens, Joe. We're seeing a slow start from a lot of people in the league right now. So the Knicks, if they come out here and they steal one from Philly while they're struggling, steal one from Brooklyn at the end of the week while they're struggling, they steal these games. That's the thing. They're beating the teams they're supposed to beat. And Charlotte they're without guys right now, without LaMelo Ball, but they're not a bad team. Detroit's giving everybody games. The Knicks have beat them. Orlando's tough out too, even though they don't even have a win yet.
They just won one.
Yeah, they finally got the win. Yeah, right. And but that the Knicks are right there, and that's what my expectation is, to just keep getting better. They weren't, no matter what happened in the Donovan Mitchell situation. I know that I joke about it, but no matter what they did, they weren't going to be a championship team. Even adding Donovan Mitchell to this roster right now isn't going to make them a championship roster. So I just want to see progress. I don't want to see a step in the wrong direction, step back. They get in the playoffs in the 4 seed. They're not a 4 seed, but I would have liked to last year see them get at least back into the playoffs again. Maybe try to get into a 7-game first round exit, instead of getting a gentleman's sweep. Those are my goals. This year I want to make the play-in, scrap, hopefully get into the playoff 8 and give us a 2 or 1 or 2 seed a 6 or 7 game series. That's an expectation for me, because there are talented players on this team. There's still moves they got to make, but I want to just keep seeing progress with the guys they got that they're going forward with Julius, with Mitch, with RJ, with Brunson. I want to see these guys quickly. Obi, I want to see these guys making progress and having those moments. Yeah, they're not going to win a championship, but before you win a championship, no young team just goes in the playoffs and gets all the way to the finals.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're absolutely right.
They gotta take steps, and that's the step I want to take.
So speaking of teams who had championship aspirations, the Los Angeles Clippers have not been playing well, and a big part of that is the fact that Kawhi Leonard has only played 2 games this year. We all know he missed all of last year with the knee injury. And coming into the season, I think there was a lot of optimism that we would get the claw, we would get PG-13, newly acquired John Wall. Like we had high expectations for that team to be a true contender, a top half of the Western Conference type of team. Kawhi, that knee's still bothering him, and it's a step back at this point. And Tyronn Lue said he's frustrated. Kawhi's frustrated, but realistic, what's the future for Kawhi Leonard look like at this point? I mean, he's 31 years old. He's already missed, I think, 2 full seasons, or plus or minus. Yeah. It just seems like it's always the lower body. It's a knee, it's a foot. He just seems hobbled. Do you think we're seeing the beginning of the end of Kawhi Leonard? Again, we don't wish injury on anybody, but it's starting to become a trend. What are we thinking about Kawhi?
I said that after when he left Toronto. I think we're in it right now. This is the beginning of the end. He's been dealing with injuries since he's left there. We saw him at his peak. We knew, that was his late 20s, and I get it. He's in his prime at that point. But he was dealing with injuries the year before that. Yep. He's dealing with injuries again, coming back into that season. He was on a minutes restriction, pitch count. He was taking, every other day he was playing really until they got to the playoffs. I think he only played like 58 games or something that year with Toronto. Yeah. But he was there when it mattered. And we know what he is when he's there, but even when he's healthy, I can't imagine. We just got done hearing Clay talk about I missed 2 years with serious injuries and how he needs time to get back. Kawhi keeps having these setbacks, and that's taking away from the time for him to get back to Toronto Kawhi. Yep. So if you're asking me, is he going to be the same player again? I can't imagine that he is, because he just doesn't have the time on the court, to get, with that real competition, to get himself back into shape and back into that zone again.
Yeah, I totally agree. And really, the Kawhi Leonard, I don't know if he's still a great player. He was a great player. He was a great player. He was a great player in San Antonio. He had one of the most iconic playoff runs that we ever saw with Toronto a few years ago. But I definitely don't forget all the people that catapulted him to the best player in the world conversation, because that pissed me off, because he was never better than LeBron during that time. He wasn't better than Giannis. I don't think he wasn't better than KD at that time.
That 2014 finals, man. That 2014 final. And then they're like, oh, well, they used that. Like, he beat LeBron in 2014. I'm like, yo, he was like the fourth best player on that team. And that's why he was assigned to use everything in his body to guard LeBron.
Correct.
Like, we don't need you to score, Kawhi.
I haven't forgotten.
Every ounce of your strength to guard LeBron in his prime.
I haven't forgotten about y'all.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were one of. I don't think you were one of them, but there was people.
No.
There was people.
I'm always LeBron. I was LeBron until the last month with Giannis. Literally,
I respect that.
I've been LeBron for 13 years or something like that.
Yeah.
I had LeBron before, when people were saying that Kobe still was in like 2011. I said, nah, LeBron is here, dog.
Yeah.
LeBron was here like 2 years ago. Y'all didn't want to recognize him. Now he's here. That was like his second year in Miami. I was like that MVP year. Like, wasn't it like unanimous or something? Like, that was a crazy 2011, 2012. That year was crazy.
Going nuts. Yeah. Yeah. So again, we don't wish injury on anybody. I wish Kawhi was healthy, quite frankly, but I feel like we're watching him fall apart in front of our eyes. And for a team that had such high expectations and was at least built to have Paul George and Kawhi on the court at the same time, if he doesn't play, I mean, he played, high 50s in the year that Toronto won the championship. I mean, I'd be surprised if he played like 40 games this year, like that 40 to 50 range. So hoping he gets back healthy, but it's just hard to see. Do
we know how much of a setback this is right now? Do we know, like, if it's like he's going to miss another 4 to 6 weeks, or is this just a day-to-day thing that they're monitoring? Like, if he wakes up tomorrow when their next game is, and he's like, oh, I feel great, are they going to let him play?
It's more or less day-to-day. They said that he definitely would not play in the next 2 games. He didn't travel with the team. Okay. So he's still in LA right now. He's rehabbing, which makes it seem as though it's not too serious. But again, with somebody who's had like chronic knee issues, really the only hope is that he'll be able to rehab and get healthy and get back on the court. So prayers up to Kawhi. Hopefully this isn't the end for him. He's still young. I mean, 30 years old, 31 years old. He got a lot of game in him, but if he doesn't have his legs, it's going to be a tough road. So from one team not performing fantastic to a team that's a dumpster fire on the East Coast.
I know where we're going with this.
The Brooklyn Nets. It just feels like the Barclays Center is burning to the ground at this point. Last week we had Kyrie and his anti-Semitic, and we're talking about anti-Semitism 2 weeks in a row, which I don't understand. Yeah, like, why is it a conversation?
How is it still happening?
Yeah, exactly. So you had all of
Kyrie, who lives and plays in Brooklyn,
yes,
one of the United States Semitic capitals of the world.
Bro, it's the fact that we're talking about this in 2022 over multiple weeks on a public platform in the NBA is just, it's nuts, man. But we're not going to get in. That's another story for another day.
Yeah, they held him from questioning last night.
And I don't blame him.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. So we had Kyrie. We had Killer Cameron. He got on social media talking about Ben Simmons, saying that he could go out there and get 4 points and 6 fouls. So, like, he got Ben Simmons out there getting got Cameron on him. And then it all kind of came to a head, and we saw Steve Nash get fired, who really just seemed like the scapegoat.
Did he get fired or did he quit? What happened? Like, I think he had it. He said the other night that they wasn't responding to him. So that's a very good point, because I think they said they mutually agreed to part ways. Whatever that means. But it truly felt like Steve Nash was a scapegoat. Like, he was the reason why the team wasn't performing in this, that, and the third. I think a lot of it can be traced back to Kyrie, like from the start, prior to the pandemic, him not getting vaccinated again. The chaos.
Just chaos around the team. Bringing James Harden in, like, chaos.
But the team itself, though, they've had enough talent to at least win 100%. Games. I can't say they're playing so bad on the court that goes to Sean Marks. It's not you fired a guy who's coaching them because he's trying to do a system that worked, by the way. Amari Stoudemire said on ESPN this morning, we were running the system last year that Steve and I ran in Phoenix. So they're running D'Antoni's system. Everybody else loves D'Antoni's system, wants to run D'Antoni's system, but these guys can't do it. They're not responding to him on the court. So whose fault is it? You need to get guys in there who, A, will, at a minimum, listen to the coach, and B, buy into the system. These guys think they're in the system and they want to create their own system and do whatever they want to do. That's what it's like.
The thing that's so messy about this is Steve Nash was hired basically because of KD, because KD worked with him in Golden State. So Steve Nash got the job on the recommendation of this player. KD's asking out. He wanted Steve Nash fired, a couple months ago. Like chaos is the perfect word.
3 months of this man's life. They wasted to scapegoat him and hire a dude who's currently suspended. Whilst they have all these other dramatic things going on. They're holding back a player from speaking to the media because the things he say are so inflammatory. And now they want to bring a coach who's hooking up with employees at his former job. They want to bring him right in and have him feed him to the New York media. What is going on?
So the whole Ime thing, I don't think that, it's not, I think the Brooklyn Nets came out and said that they haven't made a decision on a coach. But when
now they did, because they've seen the reaction.
Exactly. But when you have Shams and Woj reporting on it, there's a very high likely chance that it's true.
They have multiple sources in every organization. Yeah. And everybody's telling them. They have a PR person that they probably know the PR people to every single team. Yep. They have people that text them because the team wants them to be the one to report it.
Yep.
They have their guys.
So again, like you said, with all of the baggage in Brooklyn, it seems like they're going with a guy with baggage of his own. And initially, when I heard that report, I'm like, bro, like in my mind, I was like, there's no way this is happening. But
you saw our text messages, we used to screenshot them because we're like, bro, what is happening?
I was so bad, but he's suspended, can't play. It's a team decision. It wasn't a league suspension. So then I was like, okay. But then again, it's just like, why would Brooklyn? He's a great coach. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a rookie head coach, brought a team to the finals. He's a top 5, top 7 head coach in the league. But all this other stuff with him, plus all this stuff with your team, I just don't know how that meshes in the New York media, like you just said.
And it's like, it can't be about, don't tell me that this is about chemistry for your guys, KD and whatever. because Steve Nash had chemistry with those guys too. Yeah. And look at him. And KD been in the league for 15 years, 17, I think. Kyrie been in the league 12 years. They both got plenty of coaches that are out there assisting somewhere else with head coaching cachet, with less drama that you could bring in here and have them in for like, come on. And if you can't do any of that, Jacque Vaughn is a capable NBA coach. He coached in Orlando. He's already on your staff. Let him finish the season, and then just start your rebuild now. Like there's an amazing player available next year in the draft. Get Kyrie off, get KD off, get your draft compensation, and go ahead and rebuild it now. Like, why are you hanging on to this thing? I get it. You have two generational talents, but they don't work together.
Yes, that's what it is.
All thought it would work, and I'm okay. I've accepted it. They don't work.
Nope.
They're two great one-on-one players who will go perfectly complementary with somebody else. Like KD will go great. I think Sean was the one who said Washington, and I was like, I actually love that.
That would be a great move.
I really love that because you got him and Brad Beal are two guys who can fill it up and score, but they're unselfish players. Like even Beal now is giving it up to Kuzma and giving it up to Porzingis, and he's not even scoring 20 a game right now. And then that's what you got to do. You got to just bust this thing up because it's too much of a mess now.
I totally agree. And I mean, for what it's worth, to your point, neither one of them has won or flourished without a true number one on their team.
Number one.
You know what I'm saying?
Like a 1-1.
So
even when you go back to Russ, like say what you want about Russell Westbrook, when him and KD played together, Russ was the ball dominant guy.
Yes.
He was the one setting KD up, bringing the ball up the court every single time, taking rebounds off the rim. Boom, I'm bringing it up. KD, you go set up down there in the block. I'll throw you down there to the block for you. And Russ was the guy who's handling everything in the offense in Golden State. Every single set started with Steph Curry on the wing, hook around this thing up there. That opens up the isolation on the side for KD to do what he does. But he, you know what I'm saying? With Kyrie's able to get one-on-one shots all the time playing alongside LeBron.
Yeah.
You know, because they can't, run around with him. So it's just it's time to send them to other places. They gotta go.
Yeah, I agree. I think Brooklyn has to blow it up. I mean, they're probably going to stick it out.
I'm telling you, Brooklyn got to do it with the Lakers. And then you do Washington. I don't know what their draft compensation is like, but I'm sure they'll give up everything and some expiring contracts to get KD in there because they owe Brad Beal that. They owe Bradley Beal.
That's the thing, though. They shopped KD around, and that's what Brooklyn's asking for. They're asking for the house. They want, that if it's Brad Beal, they want the other 14 players on the team plus 3 first-rounders for KD. And it's
much.
Like, well, then how do you fill out the roster?
That was when they were in the mindset of still trying to win, though. Like now,
that's true.
When you're trying to lose, you reposition yourself and you say, all right, we just need assets for the future. We need to open up some contract space. So we're getting this KD money off our books. So we'll take 3 older expiring contracts off your books. And then after that, you just flip Kyrie for Westbrook straight up.
Yeah, I mean,
because Russ will be off your books, another $47 million off your books right after that. Like I'm GMing right now, but that's how it works. That's the thing that works for me. KD to Washington, Kyrie to LA, give Russ his new thing. He'll be in Brooklyn and be able to dress weird, star, do all this stuff that he likes to do. He'll be playing with Ben Simmons. He doesn't shoot or dribble or do anything. So Russ can have the ball all he wants. And then kick it out to Seth Curry.
So let me ask you this. This team as currently constructed, just Ben Simmons, Kyrie, KD, are they on the team at the end of the season?
No chance that roster as is.
You think at least one of them is out of there?
One of them is out of there. Okay. I don't know when the earliest they can trade Ben Simmons is, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be the first one out of there. Mm-hmm. And if it really gets bad, like around All-Star break, that's when they start moving Kyrie to get something. They'll move Kyrie to a contender. And then KD, he might have to just tough it out for the season. But I'm thinking that they'll probably sit him down or something. If you're going to lose, then lose.
Yeah.
Like, commit. So I just think that when you're trying to win, but you're still losing, You got to just bust this thing up. It just doesn't work. Gene said it. Gene, shout out to Gene. He was like, they have a bunch of good players. They're not a good team.
Yes.
I'm not going to sit here and say that they're all scrubs. They got players that can play.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So I feel this show is very negative now that I'm thinking about it, because we're gonna go into another team, and next week we're gonna make a note. We're gonna be positive next week.
Positive things.
I mean,
I got a positive. Quentin Grimes returning tonight against the Atlanta Hawks, because we don't care about Trae Young.
Bro, we don't. All right, man. I already gave you your Knicks talk, man. We talked about the Knicks earlier in the night.
I just randomly threw that in. You want good news? That's good news for somebody.
All right, fair enough.
Trae Young, no.
Fair enough. So another team that is underperforming, the Golden State Warriors, 3-5 currently, 0-4 on the road this season. They've yet to win 2 games in a row. What are our concerns about that Golden State Warriors team? Can they repeat? Is it just a little bit of a hangover? Are they still drunk off champagne from the championship last year?
So I don't think that it's a hangover. I think that they're missing some key guys who help them in certain departments. First of all, their biggest issue to me is defensively.
Of course.
They are not what they were defensively in June. They don't have. They're missing some guys.
Gary Payton Jr.
Gary Payton Jr. These guys play D, man. Like their job was role players was to go in there and defend the perimeter like tight and lock down. Clay, obviously he's getting back. We spoke about that before. He's trying to get his feet back under him again, but he's obviously lost a step. And and Steph has never been someone who touted as a good to great defender.
Yeah.
So and you got Draymond there, and he's doing the best he can, but he's not exactly like a rim protector. And young James Wiseman, same thing, doesn't exactly know how to, do it the way that pros do it. So
he's still learning.
I think he's still learning. So it's gonna take some time for them to put it all together. But that is why they're losing these games. They can't stop anybody from scoring. They're giving up I don't have the stats, and I wish I did. I'm trying to look it up, but I didn't find it in time. But I noticed that they're giving up more than 60 points a half. Well over almost 70 points a half. And that's not where you want to be at. You want to be real, you know what I mean? You want to be stopping people. They're not defending the 3 well. And the biggest problem is they're not shooting the ball well either.
So that leads directly into my point. I do agree with you. Defensively, they're not as good as they were last year. But I think a big part of it through 8 games, Steph Curry's been the leading scorer in every game. And he's averaging 30, which, this definitely isn't a knock on Steph, greatest shooter of all time. You can't bank on Steph Curry carrying this team for 82 games offensively.
Yeah.
Last year, he was the leading scorer in 40 of 82 games. And Jordan Poole was the leading scorer in 22 in 22 other games. He's got to be better. They've just got to find scoring from somebody else, someplace else to balance that distribution. Because Steph is going to burn out, as
you got to look at Wiggins too. Wiggins
played great last year.
And get him. He's not that go out and get a bucket type of guy. He just scores through the flow of the game.
Yep.
So, with him, I want to see him more aggressive and more assertive to go out there and say, give me get a one-on-one and give me that, clap for the ball, go and get that. Because he's got all the athletic gifts. He's he can do it all. But it just seems like he just wants to I'll take it when you guys give it to me.
Yeah, and I don't that, I think we all have faith in Steve Kerr, and he'll kind of figure things out. But again, to your point earlier about them not shooting the ball well, that could be part of the reason why Steph is shooting as much as he is. If you guys aren't making buckets, we're going to lose by, 30 a game. I kind of got to keep us afloat and keep us in the game. But at some point, Jordan Poole, Wiggins, Klay Thompson, somebody, some of the young fellas that we were talking about last week, they've got to step up and really balance out the scoring on that squad. And hopefully as they get healthy, they get their legs under them, they get into a rhythm, we'll see the defense catch up to them as well. So is it a hangover? I don't think so. Not yet anyway. It's still early. But I mean, give it another couple of weeks. If they're still playing the way that they're playing, it might be cause for some concern.
I got the stat, by the way, and I totally agree with you, by the way, but I got the stat. They are bottom half of the league in point differential and second to last in the league in opponents' points allowed. So they're giving up their most points in the league, basically. Yeah. Other than Memphis, who is playing well enough to outscore everybody. But, like, that's just, they got to clean that up. You can't win games like that.
If you're not scoring, that's one thing. But if you're stopping people from scoring, you'll be in games. But if you're not doing both or either of them, recipe for disaster for sure.
Absolutely.
So, bro, I mean, the season so far has been, I feel like it's almost been like clunky the only team that's been flawless literally is Milwaukee. And I mean, they're just a well-oiled machine,
They're the best team in the league by far by now. Giannis is the best player in the world. I won't say by far, but he is the best player in the world. And I'm telling you, the conversation around him is crazy because you see so many people trying to deny that still because they're like, oh, well, he can't shoot. But I'm like, yes, he can.
Bro.
And then, watch his games. Watch his games now. When you see him out there, he's confidently shooting threes in the corner. Confidently, he's walking up and shooting threes now.
Yeah.
He's turnaround faders in the middle of the lane in the clutch time. Bro. And he's still with Euro and
bro, I feel like that man Euros from like the 3-point line just steps through the lane and dunk. Like he's incredible. He's truly incredible.
Other with his Euro. It's crazy. He's like, like, oh, it's the most amazing thing I ever seen. I'm like, bro, how does he do it? I mean, I know he's tall. I know his legs is long, but like he covers so much ground.
It's wild, man.
Oh, it's wild. And that's what I'm saying. The other parts of his game are getting better. The handle's even getting tighter. He's a freak of nature. And then I want to give credit to Phoenix, even though I don't believe them. I want to give credit to them because they're beating everybody and they look good.
Phoenix is such a frustrating team to me. Yeah, I've been on the Phoenix band kind of embarrassingly.
Last year turned a lot of people off of them.
So embarrassingly, I've been on the Phoenix bandwagon since the last time I seriously played 2K because they drafted me to the team and we dominated. We won championship in 2K. So ever since then, I'm like playing with the team in 2K. I'm like, yo, like they got some talent on the roster. Yeah. And I started watching them a little bit more and I'm like, yo, like they're legit. And they're able to put it together through 82. They're able to put it together, round 1, round 2. They made it to the finals. But it feels like they're missing something. And I don't know what that something is. I don't know if it's Chris Paul's hamstring. I don't know if there's just something
they're missing that final level for Devin Booker. He needs that one more level. He's got to take his game. He's so close. And I can see that he's playing like that so far this year. But he's that level that like, yo, no one's going to stop me. Like he has a lot of confidence. You could tell.
100%.
He's shooting the ball incredibly well. Shooting really, he's shooting threes at a higher clip than he has, in his career. So he's shooting more of them. He's making more of them. He's getting to the rim. He's getting to the free throw line a ton. What he did to Clay was assault and he should be arrested. And I mean, it's crazy because he shouldn't pick on that man like that. He's trying to get back from injury.
Devin Booker's a bully. That's what you're telling me?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's out here. He's out for blood this year. You could tell he took last year personally, and that's what you want to see. Bouncing back from being the team that led the league in wins last year and then exited the second round of the playoffs. So I like to see him coming back. He wants everybody, like wants all the smoke. So that's what they need from him. That is how close they are. I think the roster has everything you need, and they need DeAndre Ayton also to take a step up too. He's got to get better better on the defensive end, and stop fouling so much so he can stay on the court longer. And he's got to get again, like Shaq be saying it all the time, but he need to get Joe behind under the basket and start playing.
Yeah.
If you want to face up, but at least post somebody up back to the basket to get the basketball and make your moves from there and demand the ball.
So
stop just standing out there.
That's, when it comes to big guys, we talked about Joel Embiid last week. Again, the back to the basket center power forward, like that's not really a thing anymore. But when you're such a big body like a DeAndre Ayton, like a Joel Embiid, I don't think they understand how much it takes out of a defender having to
lean on you like that.
Yeah, like just being that big and that strong. You're in the paint, for a few possessions. Like it wears on players to where
nobody wants to be banging with anybody down there in the paint like that for an entire game. And if they are, by the fourth quarter, you'll be catching lobs on them because they're not going to be able to move. They won't even be able to run across the lane with you. Like, you'll be able to, things will be easy late in the game. And that's why you got to just demand that thing early. Get it to me. Give him one of them elbows, shoulder, Yeah.
I'm
so
with you.
I think that's what it is. He's from the Caribbean, man. Nice people.
I heard some stuff about Jamaican people though.
What
Twitter
is that?
Today.
That is not true. That is false. That is false.
I'm just reporting what I see on Twitter, and everything on Twitter is right. So
the internet is gone. The truth has been murdered by the internet. The truth is gone. The streets is done. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, but so I think, is there anything that we missed?
No, man. I'm looking at the notes right now. That was everything.
We only got a couple more minutes, but have you seen the Sierra Canyon documentary on Amazon Prime?
Yes, very good.
So I just started watching.
Is there a new season now?
There's a new season.
Oh, this Bronny's like senior year, right? The last one I watched was the one with Amari Bailey was still there when he was a senior. They lost.
No, Amari. So we're gonna run out of time, and I definitely want to talk about this. Should we save it for next week?
Yeah.
All right, we'll save it for next week. Yo, everybody that tuned in, appreciate y'all, love y'all. If there's anything that you think we should be talking about, let us know in the comments below. Again, we're just here to talk some basketball, man. It's a long season, it's a fun season. Hopefully, as much junk as I talk about the Knicks, I hope they win, make it to the playoffs, just so that they could get their heart ripped out, and it'll be great content for the show when we get there. So, anything before we go, Cash?
Rest in peace, Takeoff, and gun violence.
Yes. Rest in peace. Yo, we will be back with you guys next week. I'm Johnell. This is my guy, Cash Walk-In. This is Heat Check, Designated Report. We're out.
Holla.